everyone, today I want to talk about a problem, a very well-known IMO problem. It's called the Legend of Question 6. This is one of the hardest problems ever. Many experts, even professors, can't do this. Let's take a look. It says let a and b be positive integers, such that a times b plus 1 divides a squared plus b squared. We want to show that this fraction is the square of an integer. That is, if we can simplify it to an integer, it must be the square of an integer. Okay, can you understand? You can pause for a while and think how to solve it. Okay, now, I want to give you a clever method to prove it. I use two tricks. One is Vieta's theorem. Another is the method of infinite descent. Okay, let's begin. We can find a solution a1, b1 satisfy this requirement. And a1 is bigger or equal to b1. a1 plus b1 is the minimum. We can find it for sure because we know 1, 1 is one of the solution, right? 1 squared plus 1 squared divided by 1 times 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 divided by 2 is 1, right? It's an integer. Okay, we call this integer k. K is a positive integer. But at first, we assume k is not the square of an integer because we want to prove it by contradiction, right? We simplify this equation and this is like a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation has two roots. One is a1, another is a2. By Vieta's theorem, we write down their summation and the multiplication, and then we can get the properties of a2. From the first equation, we know a2 is an integer, because all of these are integers. The second equation tells us a2 is not 0, because at first, we assume k is not the square of an integer. The difference between them in numerator is not 0, and so is a2. Remember, a2 is a root of this quadratic equation, so it satisfies this equation. All of these are positive. a2 is positive. These three lines explain a2, b1 is another solution other than a1, b1. According to the second equation, now we replace b1 with a1 and get a larger number because of this. And then we get a2 is smaller than a1, right? Finally, we get a2 plus b1 is smaller than a1 plus b1. Now, here comes a contradiction, right? Because we can get a smaller sum of a and b. Here's a contradiction. So, the proof is done. This fraction is definitely the square of an integer. 对于今天讲的内容，大家还可以吗？如果你有什么想法，或者是想要了解数理知识、有趣的题目，欢迎在下方留言给我。另外，如果你觉得今天影片还不错的话，麻烦你也帮我按个赞，以及分享给更多需要的朋友们。我是郭哥老师，我们下次见喽。